Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich are taking on the White House over the legality of drone strikes. Now, the White House has said they have documents outlining the legal justification for these overseas drone strikes. However, it doesn't appear that we really know what those contain. And as I mentioned, Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich, both congressmen, are trying to challenge the Obama administration to release those documents. Now, if passed by Congress, the resolution of inquiry would require the Attorney General to transmit to the House of Representatives no later than 14 days after the adoption of the resolution any documents and legal memoranda that they have relating to this practice of targeted killing of U.S. citizens and targets abroad. I guess this could be a big deal. I don't really know if it's going to happen. Dennis Kucinich and Ron Paul, both for the best of their intentions on separate issues or on issues they work on together, are not always particularly effective in getting what they want.
Right. I think this is pretty idiotic. Ask yourself, why is it legal for our government to do this? Well, because they made it legal. Okay?
Exactly.
If you're talking about international law, maybe that's another story, but that's not the angle they're going for.
No, well, they are saying that it is unconstitutional.
Right. Well, it's not, because a lot of people said that pat downs at airports was unconstitutional. Well, it was, but the government made an amendment that made it legal.
So do you agree with that, Natan? Do you think most likely these legal justifications are rewordings and framings of law in a very particular way to make it not necessarily specifically legal, but not specifically illegal?
I'm not sure. I think that even Obama has talked about sort of setting up a legal framework going forward that would allow what the U.S. does going forward to be completely legal in a totally unambiguous way. But I mean, I don't think these particular complaints by Kucinich and Ron Paul are going to take hold, but certainly something's going to happen with this whole story in the next couple of years.
It has to. And there's a new war costs report which says that since George W. Bush first used drone strikes, the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reports at least 178 innocent children up to age 17 have died directly as a result of U.S. drone police. And it's not clear whether Pakistan has consented to U.S. actions in their airspace, which also raises the question of whether the U.S. even has legal authority to act there. There's so many questions about this.
In a war where, let's put things into perspective here, in a war where, in Iraq, where I think around 1 million Iraqi civilians were killed over, what, a 10-year period? 178 children from drone strikes over that whole course of time. I mean, I know this is going to sound bad, but that sounds to me like these drones are actually pretty accurate and are better at reducing collateral damage than normal bombings and attacks.
Interesting. So what you're saying is that while the 178 innocent children who have died is horrifying, that if all of the targets that were being targeted had been targeted by methods other than drones, we would see even more than 178 innocent children die.
I think it's likely. And look, in general, this is the future of warfare.
It just doesn't seem that it's legal. That's the only problem. And Bill, let's say something else. And let's be very clear here. People will say, well, is David Pakman criticizing Barack Obama, or who is he criticizing here? I'm criticizing everybody. This goes across party. And why does it go across party? You know that if Republicans thought they had a case against President Obama here, they would be making it. And why aren't they? A combination of they don't disagree with this because they would do the exact same thing as we've seen with George W. Bush and as we would have seen with Mitt Romney had he won. This seems to be something both parties overall agree on, which is these drone strikes. But Bill Maher had an interesting suggestion, which is Americans would label drone attacks as terrorism if another country did this in the U.S. There is no question about it. Do you deny that, Louis?
No, not at all.
Natan?
No. I mean, I think that I don't deny it. I think that it would probably be the case. But I think Lewis is making a good point here, which does put things in perspective. If you compare drone strikes the way they're currently done with not doing anything, clearly it's very bad ethically and also potentially legally. However, you have to compare it to what would be done to get the same result, anti-terrorism result, with conventional methods. And in that context, I think you get a little more perspective.
Nobody is denying that. The question is, if this is not legal, now let's take this to its eventual conclusion. drone capability is not going to be limited to the U.S. or even only to nations or states, right? Not even for external use. This is a tool that eventually, and we're already seeing applications for drone licenses or whatever it's called within the U.S., this could be used by non-state terrorist groups and probably will at some point. This could be used by internally, by a number, there was a rumor, I don't know if it's true or not, that TMZ, the gossip website, wanted a drone to follow celebrities, right? I think this is a tool that will come back to bite.
As just about any tool will, but it's still the future.